Um, my name is Garrett Jones. Most of you know me. I'm in Keller Williams Cupertino office. I work as a team leader for my small group, the Jones Group. There's one licensed agent who's also administrative help, and myself. I also work as a productivity coach and with Travis Clark. So for Hanan, I know a lot of this material from capturing leads at open houses will sound a little redundant, but I think that you're going to find some good other tidbits of information in here. So here's what I'm going to recommend for everybody to do is as I speak and as I go through things, there's going to be multiple opportunities for us to share kind of what we're getting out of it and our ahas. And so I suggest, taking some notes with the information that you think you can take some action on, right? That's what I hope that you guys get out of today is 3 or 4 things that we can put on our calendars and start to take action on to convert more conversations into appointments. Okay. So we're going to talk. Hanan, you got a question or a?
Oh no, I'm just right. No, I'm listening.
Okay. So when we host open houses, something to always keep in mind is our opportunity there is data collection. Okay. If I don't collect the data and collect the contact information, I'm going to struggle following up with those people. So I want us all to look at our open house opportunities as a vehicle that we can use to have more conversations with more people, right? And we're going to go over exactly how to do that today. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed, Ignite up to this point. You're coming in here on the quarter mark of Ignite, and it should position us to understand what our priorities are as a newer agent. Okay? I can't tell you how critical it is to really define what your priorities are going to be. And I'll reiterate again what the 5 jobs, the 5 responsibilities of an agent are each day, right? It's to lead generate, it's to lead follow up, it's to negotiate contracts, it's to go on appointments, and it's script practice and objection handling, right? And making sure that we are well equipped to have all the conversations that we should be having in order to set more appointments and get more closings, right? Our opportunity as new agents, the number one thing on everyone's mind, I hope it is to find the money, okay? Because the quicker we can find the money, the quicker our businesses can grow and the faster we can become a full-time agent if we're not already. So here we are. This is a quick overview of what we're going to talk about today. Capturing leads, right? What are the best practices around an open house so that we can make sure, I think of it as pouring gasoline onto a fire. Okay, we have an open house, we have an opportunity to prospect and get prepared, right? And then what are the daily successes? How am I monitoring, right? When I get an open house, what goals do I have for that open house? And then I need to take the time to reflect on the open house and determine whether I succeeded and met my goals or whether I didn't. I don't get to decide how many people walk into that open house, right? But the thing I have control over is being prepared for each and every one of those conversations as they come forward, right? And people are going to come to open houses and some will want to talk, some will not want to talk, some will be neighbors, some will be investors, some will have an agent, some will not. They'll be in various stages of the buying process. So something for us all to kind of keep in mind is what are their problems and what are we offering to help solve their problem, right? Because if I can deliver that in the conversation, I want to give them a reason to say yes to meeting with me. What reason am I giving you to say yes? All right, so this takes some practice, and that's what the script practice is for, right? That's what the objection handling's for, so that you can practice that conversation. And I think the next step, which will be part of Ignite later, is understanding what your buyer consultation has to offer these people. Is this a buyer consultation for a first-time home buyer? That's most likely the open house lead that comes in who will make an appointment with me. It's usually a first-time home buyer. So am I prepared to give them a reason to meet with me? Okay, nothing else about your business will have as big an impact on it as the number of leads you have. So Gary Keller, right? Keller Williams, the man that everyone talks about, written all the books. Here's the question that I get from that statement is know your numbers, right? And if you've had a sales background or you have not, we need to start understanding what our pipeline looks like. Okay. 10% of my pipeline is going to close, but I'll back up a second and kind of define what a pipeline is, right? So my pipeline has buyers in it in various stages of the buying process, from they're ready to buy now to they're ready to buy in a year. It has sellers who are in the same boat. We're ready to sell now to we're ready to sell 2 years away, and everywhere in between. And then it has investors, and investors will give me their time. They'll talk to me. And if I'm going out and looking for sellers who need to sell now, they should be a part of my pipeline. But if I'm not participating in that sort of lead generating activity where I'm looking for what I'll call distressed sellers, the investor probably isn't that beneficial for us at this stage of our career. All right. So let's talk about some limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs, right? I don't have a listing to hold open. I don't have my signs yet. I may not know the answers to the questions visitors have. Open houses don't really work because most people look online. I won't feel safe. These are reasons that prevent us from getting outside of our comfort zone. And I'm just going to go through one by one, and we're going to talk about how to feel better about each one of these reasons we have for maybe not getting out there. So if I don't have a listing to hold open, which many of us don't, I need to spend time early on in the week finding agents that will allow me to hold their houses open, right? It may be on a weekday. It could be any time, but I need to reach out to agents and ask them, can I host an open house for you? I notice you have a listing over here. I'm going to do a fantastic job. I'd love the opportunity. Okay. And the more you do this week after week, you will then accumulate a group of agents who sell a lot of homes, who will know that you're going to do a great job at their open house and give you more opportunities. Okay. If you don't have signs yet, I would say don't worry about it. You can borrow signs from the office. Most people are going based on what their phone's telling them. So this isn't a reason in my eyes. So I may not know the answers to the question. And I'm going to bring it back to script practice and objection handling. I'm going to put my email into the chat now. And if you would like a script, an open house script, please email me and I will make sure I send that to you. This will help you just have a very nice conversation with people And the most important thing kind of about that conversation is I get to my ask, right? And my ask is either for an appointment or to stay in touch with them in the future, right? I have two objectives, right? It's gather information, meaning I want your contact information and the permission to stay in contact with you, or the main objective is to set an appointment with that individual. I particularly believe that when setting appointments, I want to invite them to the office first and foremost. And my second option is to hold it over Zoom or Google Meets or what have you. Okay, open houses don't really work because most people look online. Yeah, it's just not true, right? Open houses are a wonderful opportunity to meet buyers, especially buyers early on in the home buying process. And I can be a big benefit to them if I can help them meet the right lender. If I can set up a search for them that is specific to their criteria, this goes a big way, right? The biggest reason you should meet with me is because I'm going to save you time and money. And I would write that down and play with how you want to say that to people. But I'm going to save you time and money. And the way I'm going to do that is we're going to spend a lot of time understanding your needs, right? I'm going to ask you questions that are going to give you more thought on the type of home and the place that you want to live. And we're going to create a real clear picture of where that home is and what it looks like. And then I'm only going to send you homes that meet that criteria. So it's going to save you a lot of time, because right now you're probably looking on Redfin and Zillow and Realtor.com, and you're looking at everything. And it's very hard for you to make a decision when you're looking at everything. Open houses don't really work, okay? And I won't feel safe. If this is the concern of yours, I recommend partnering up with an agent and hosting an open house together. Or you can host open houses in the afternoon. If this is a concern of yours, I suggest talking to some people about it and figuring out how you can feel safe. All right. Let's go to the next slide. I skipped too many ahead. All right, let's get into capturing leads. I believe the best way to capture leads is for you to get a QR code made that once scanned, it takes that person to the contact form of your website. And there they will enter their contact information. If I have the KW command app on my phone, I get a ding noise when I capture a new lead. And so I have a way right then and there to know if you put in your information and you filled out the form correctly. An agent in Sacramento who all of her business is selling homes and capturing leads from open houses and closing them. That is her business. She doesn't allow people to come into the house without scanning the QR code. She stands at the front door, or if it's a busy open house, she'll have another agent stand at the front door, and they say, in order to come in the open house, you have to scan the QR code. It's for the safety of myself and my sellers. And most people just scan the code. And if you're having some conversation with somebody, you can say that, you were watching an episode of CSI and the agent was abducted. And the first thing that the investigators did was they pulled the sign-in sheet from the open house. And obviously, for safety reasons, I'm going to ask that you sign in, because the investigators are going to have to know who to talk to if for some reason I come up missing. And again, that I'm going to pause for a second. That goes back to us knowing our scripts and knowing how to handle objections. Okay. There's only 5 or 7 objections that you'll hear at an open house. And once you know them and know what you're going to say, it becomes very easy to just relax and have a conversation with that voice in my head saying like, I don't know what they're going to ask. I'm nervous. And well, that makes it very hard because I'm always thinking about what I'm going to say next. And I can't really listen because people will drop nuggets as to what they're really looking for and why they're there. And what I'm looking to do is get to the truth. Okay. So who benefits, right? The seller benefits from the open house, buyers, the neighbors. You as the agent is who's really benefiting from the open house. This is an opportunity to go and talk to the neighbors and door knock and invite them to a sneak peek preview if the house is new to the market, or even if it's not. Part of my open house strategy is to go and knock 100 doors, right? It's 25 to the right, it's 25 to the left, it's 50 across the street. And I simply walk up, I say, my name is Garrett Jones. I'm hosting an open house at your neighbor Tom's house. He's getting ready, he's selling his home. And I'd love for you to come by. We're doing a neighbor only sneak peek today from 12 to 1. Are you guys available to come by? Right? It's a very easy conversation. And for those conversations that I have a notepad on me. I write down the address of the house. I get their name and I will follow up with them and send them a thank you card. Right? It's all about touches and adding to my database. Right? So every opportunity in a conversation, that's another opportunity to become someone's real estate agent of choice, right? Become that advisor for them. But in order for me to do that, I have to have a plan and a goal, right? My goal is if I knock 100 doors, I want to add 5 to 10 people. 5 to 10 people that are neighbors should come into my database if I knock 100 doors. And some of those will stop by the open house and you get to build more rapport with them. And then you can offer things like a home evaluation. Why don't I come by for a home valuation? We can take a look at your home and I'll let you know what it would sell for today. Would that be helpful? Another conversation, okay? Keeping it moving. Lots of benefits, right? One, it's inexpensive. So if you're a new agent who doesn't have a big budget to get your name out there with lots of people, I would suggest if you could host an open house 3 to 5 days a week and you went and you door knocked around those open houses, you should be able to find a buyer to work with within the next 4 to 6 weeks. Right? It's going to take prospecting with agents to get people to say yes to you. And it's going to take goals and a plan around the open house, which we're giving you right now. So if you're having any problems with taking that leap of faith and jumping out there and doing it, we should talk about that because this is the most inexpensive way for you to talk to right now business. Somebody early on said to me, he said, you know what, Garrett, your job is to go host open houses, to grab a buyer, to put the buyer in your car, and then go find the money, which just means sell them a house, right? Find them a house. Again, prospecting tool that goes back to the door knocking and adding to that database, right? I'm going to add to my database with the people that come to the open house. And it's got a high return on investment, meaning I spent some time, maybe I spent a little bit of money with a flyer, but those were my costs, right? And when I'm trained with the script, I'm going to have a very good idea on how to qualify the leads and determine where they are in the buying window, right? The buying window is small for a lot of people. So let's open it up to the floor here. And I'd like to kind of go around and hear any ahas that you may have had so far. So if you could just unmute yourself, or I will call on people. We'll give it about 5 seconds for somebody to unmute. All right, Zach, are you home?
Hey, good morning, Garrett.
Good morning. Any ahas that you've got from the first part of today's session?
No, I don't have really any apprehensions to do open houses. I try to do them quite frequently, but I think what I could add is door knocking the neighbors, like you talked about. I've door knocked, but just not around open houses. So I think that would be good, something good to add.
Yep. Going back to our goals, right? Having goals for those open houses. How about you, Selena, or Celine, excuse me?
For me, asking another agent to see if you can host an open house for them.
Good. And so in speaking to agents who are actively doing this every week, sometimes it takes 60 phone calls. Okay, sometimes it takes a better part of 2 hours of calling people. But then once you call and send a text, a lot of times they'll get back to you later in the week. So some homes, if they've been on the market a little longer, they might be waiting to see if some offers come in on Wednesday or Thursday, and then they might get back to you Friday. But I think you guys putting enough messages out there and enough calls in, you should have an open house most weekends if you put in the footwork. Jessica Wu, are you there?
Hi, actually, I feel like I learned a lot from the first section, because when I do the open house for my own listing, I never do the door knocking. Sometimes I have like I have my flyers and just put my flyers to the neighbors, you know, the door handles, but I never door knocking. I feel like it's so, I don't know what to say to the neighbors. That's I think that's my new challenging.
Yep. And so Jessica, what I'd recommend to you is just practicing what you're going to say. I mean, it's a very easy ask to ask them to come by and take a look at the house. Most people are curious anyway. So going back to goals, right? Goals, you have a listing, Jessica. A pretty standard goal for a listing would be to get one more listing from the neighbors and find 2 more buyers, right? So if I can take one listing and I can turn it into 3 more pieces of business and 2 more buyers, I look at that as just having buyer consultations. So if you can get 2 more buyer consultations and get 1 listing appointment out of it, I feel like you've done a good job.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
Sure. ZZ. Nobody home. All right. If anybody else has an aha they'd like to share before I move on, jump in. Now's the chance. Okay. Let's get back to it. So best practices. I'm kind of weaving in the best practices as we go here. Be purposeful, right? The entrepreneurial is my definition is it's a lot of ideas, right? I have a lot of ideas about what I should be doing. I have a lot of thoughts on what would be helpful. But when I take those ideas and I move them over to purposeful, that's when I have a plan to execute. And that's when my actions start matching my entrepreneurial spirit, right? A lot of us, we come in and we got all these grandiose plans on how we're going to do things and how we're going to do them different and better. But if we don't take action, they're just ideas, right? They're just thoughts. So I really challenge you to write out on a separate piece of paper when these ideas start popping up. Just write them down. Come back to them later after you get to your priorities. Maybe once a week you evaluate them. You ask other people what they think, And then you either decide to take action on them or cross them off because maybe they're not a good use of your time right now today. Okay. So my actions have to help me find the money, right? First and foremost, my actions have to result in me taking appointments. Have to take appointments, right? Every day when I show up at work to lead generate, it's about setting an appointment. Okay, think about your market numbers, right? So this involves us getting onto the MLS and doing some research around the open house. Okay, looking at the homes that have sold in the past 3 months, 2 months, 1 month, looking at the pending properties, and then looking at the homes that are comparables to your house that are currently for sale. When I show up at the open house, these buyers that are coming by are most likely going to, if I do it right, they're most likely going to the other houses that I already know about, which allows me to be the expert when I'm talking to them. If I know the pending information, I now have a dangling carrot as to why they should meet with me because I know the market. I know the market and I can help them find a house at a fast pace and a good price. Everybody wants to save time and save money. Save time and save money. How are you going to help somebody do that? Now, I really, if you're taking notes today, I would write that down. How am I going to help somebody save time and money? Because if you understand how you're going to do that, it will make your conversations when asking for an appointment so much easier, right? I like inviting a lender when I host an open house. It's one more person in there to engage people and to get contact information. I could set the lender up to stand at the door and ask everyone to scan the QR code. Lender's in there looking for a buyer who has not committed to a lender, right? They're in there doing the same thing that we're doing. It also allows me opportunities to have better relationships with lenders and maybe work with a couple until I find that lender who's really going to be my partner, right? A lot of agents have the conversation with buyers about, you know, you should shop around and go talk to this lender and that lender and this lender. And they're trying to get them the best rate, and that's fine. But for me personally, I want to have a lending partner that is responsive to me. We have a weekly check-in call on where my buyers are at, because it's one more person doing follow-up with my buyer, which means that I don't have to do as much follow-up. And when I do follow-up, I can now talk to them and be in sync with what my lender's talking to them about. It's going to give me an advantage, and it's going to help me be a better advisor. So think about inviting lenders. Most of them will say yes. If you don't know any lenders, it's time to start building that Rolodex of lenders. I would suggest talking to other agents and getting some recommendations from lenders that they have done business with in the past. Okay. When to host open houses, right? Picking time and theme. If you could make your open house like a party, people are more relaxed. I went to an open house in my neighborhood this weekend. The guy had wine, he had cheese, he had a lender, and people, the neighbors were in there. And then I went back the next day and talked to that agent because it was busy. And I asked him if he'd found any new business. And he said, yeah, he set 2 listing appointments. Yeah, he didn't do it by mistake. He did it because he had wine and cheese on a Friday night. And the neighbors came by to have some wine and cheese, and everybody's curious about what does that house look like on the inside. And the guy has 2 listing appointments. Make it fun, right? And the more, I'm going to go back to it again, scripts and objection handling, the more comfortable and confident you are with those, the easier it is for you to relax and go have fun at your open houses. this is an opportunity. I will write this one down. Your new job is to go make new friends. I'm going to say it again. Your new job is to go make new friends. And the more new friends you make, the more houses you're going to sell. Know your market. We talked about running the numbers, knowing the stats, right? If you gave me any area in Northern California, it would probably take me 2 hours of calling agents and finding out what's happening in those areas to at least sound like the market expert there. And from a numbers perspective, I might be, right? I think the real difference when I'm claiming to be a market expert is I already have relationships with most of the key players that do business in a particular area, right? But from a numbers standpoint, I can become an expert in about 2 hours of picking up the phone and talking to agents. And it looks like this. Hey, Tom, I see you had a listing over at 123. My name's Garrett with Keller Williams. How are you today? Blah, blah, blah. And I say, hey, I got a buyer who's looking in the area and I'm just trying to stay real proactive. How was your open house this weekend? Blah, blah, blah. I have some information. Hey, about how many disclosure packets were downloaded? Da, da, da. I got some more information. Hey, do you anticipate setting an offer deadline? Blah, blah, blah. I have some more information. Okay, any other thing you're seeing in that local market that may affect things? Blah, blah, blah. I got some more information. And then I call the next agent and I have the same conversation. And now I talk to 10 agents and I have a very good idea on the buyer activity, how long things are sitting on the market for, how many active buyers are out there, because they're going to tell me how many offers they got on the pending transactions. And now we're ready to go. Now we can really advise people on what sort of offer they're going to need to make to get the house. Okay, being safe. Use the buddy system. I want to just briefly touch on the buddy system. So if we're new agents, right, we work in a job about negotiations and lead prospecting, right? So I'm going to speak for myself. If I do an open house with one of you, you and I will discuss how we're going to split the leads. Okay. And we can alternate between each person that comes in. If we've got a QR code, we might split the leads down the middle. If we don't have a QR code, it just might be, if you get their contact information, that's your lead. If I get it, it's my lead. And I know that this conversation may be uncomfortable for some of us, but the point I'm really trying to stress is, like, we work in a job where we are going to be negotiating. That is a big part of our job. And this is good practice. This is good practice for us, right? And it also, now we're on the same page, okay? We have clear expectations of one another. You know, maybe it's going to be, it doesn't matter who gets the lead. If we close that lead, I'm going to give the other person a referral fee. It could be a situation like that. It can be anything. That's my point. But I really recommend that you have the conversations if you are getting out there and working in a buddy system. Okay. Show up early, especially, you know, you want to do those sneak peek. Door knock. I got to get there early. Park on the street. Don't park in the driveway. Agents that park in the driveway, to me, it's not fair to everybody else who's coming in and looking at the house. All right. Check all the entrances and exits. Make sure your cell phone's fully charged. Turn on those lights. We don't need to check the COVID guidelines much anymore. And just kind of follow your market center's guidelines. They have checklists for you. Go out there and set appointments. And be safe while doing it. Have them come to the office. I like to have conversations in the house if I'm hosting an open house, typically in the kitchen or the living room. I'm going to pick between those two areas. Which one is like the most attractive part of the home? All right. Back to you. We've listened to me long enough. Anybody's got an aha? I'd love to hear it. Please unmute yourself. What did we get out of the last 8 minutes of listening to me talk, if anything? Not much.
Garrett, I'm not really but like also I'm like that you talking about like how if you host open house with another Asian, how you split that lead, because I will confused about that and I don't know what to do too. But
Right.
it's good that you talk about it.
Yeah, I think that's worth having the conversation beforehand. So, and also like we're new agents, right? We haven't negotiated a whole lot of contracts, most likely. I can practice negotiating with another agent. I want us to kind of look at that as like practice. You know, because if you offer me a deal that I'm not good with, then I will either say, no, I don't want to host the open house with you, or I will counter your offer and I get to practice. Okay. Any other ahas? I want to hear from like 3 people. So hopefully I don't have to call on people. Jump out there. Great.
I don't want to talk over anyone, but I didn't know we could have wine and cheese at open houses. I thought it was a safety insurance issue, but I'm glad to hear that's on the table.
Perfect. Yes. I haven't checked with the county guidelines or the brokerage guidelines on that, but I definitely think it's a good thing to do. All right, we got 2 more people jumping in there.
This is Liza. Have more fun and have food and drinks so they can get more relaxed and talk more.
Yeah, people will hang out more if we give them a reason to hang out, right? We can also add like, do we have music playing, right? Just some background music. You know, I went to one open house and they had a DJ at it and they had all sorts of food and drinks. And it was really cool, you know, and they had like 4 agents working that open house. All right, one more, then we can get back to listening to me. Not all at once, please. Zizi, are you there? All right, Vershali, take us home.
Hey Garrett, this is Robbie.
Thanks, Robbie.
Hey, you know, it's one of the things that it's kind of hard to gauge as far as like, you know, buddy system and stuff and splitting leads. You know, there are times, especially like right now in bad weather and stuff, you're not sure what the turnout is going to be like, and you might just get very small handful of groups coming in, you know, and you know, with that, in addition to with kind of bringing snacks and stuff like that. I remember when I first started doing open houses, I would bring some snacks and stuff, and I would come with plenty of snacks, and then I would leave with plenty of snacks. And so I kind of just don't do that anymore. So how do you gauge or get a feel of kind of what you might be able to expect? Is it like, you know, perhaps maybe the first couple open houses, maybe expect more groups, you know, or the property type?
Yep. All of those things. I think the best way to really gauge it is look at the activity you've had promoting the open house being one. Look
Gotcha.
at the conversations. We should be calling other agents in the area, understanding we're similar price point, we're similar size, we're similar geography here. How many people are you having come through, right? Let's kind of take the temperature on it, and then we can create a plan. So, I mean, yeah, I would hate to see us spending time and money going out, getting prepared for 30, 40 people to come through, then no one comes through. I think one thing that we can control is if we went and door knocked on a Friday and we hit our 100 doors and we had 15, 20 conversations and 10 of those people, yeah, I'm going to show up. Well, I'm going to have that sneak peek from 12 to 1. Well, I know I should get at least 5 to 7 coming through at that time. And for me, my objective is always to get a listing appointment. This is like, if we are not going out there and prospecting those sellers that live in the area, we're missing a huge opportunity, and it doesn't matter if it's my listing or not. Okay, I can't stress that enough, having a plan to use the open house to have more conversations.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to be able to, like you said, take the temperature of what's going on, do some door knocking, contacts and such. Thank you.
And if we want to add to that, right? Did we post it on social media on Wednesday? Did we then post it again on Friday, where we're inviting like our sphere? And then did we send any email to our database about the fact that we're hosting an open house? Not to say that this is going to bring a lot of people to your open house, but it's another nudge to all those people that are kind of watching what we're doing. That lets them know, hey, I'm busy. I'm selling real estate. I'm out here working. So that's another opportunity where we,
that makes a lot of sense. A lot of promoting. Yeah.
Yeah, this is we're in a self-promotion deal, right? No publicity is bad publicity. But if, let's say I send out let's say I put it on Facebook, okay? And my Facebook post gets 25 likes. And I go through the like section and I go, okay, out of the 25, 15 of those are real estate agents. I'm not calling them, but these 10 people, maybe I should call them. Maybe I should invite them to the open house personally. Maybe I should just call and check in on them and see if they have any real estate goals for 2023 that I could help with. You know, and if I sent out an email and I get the results on the email that 15 people open my email in my database, well, that might be a cue that those people may be considering buying a home, and maybe I should call them.
Well, I never really thought of it like that, especially like getting the activity from social media. That's a really good point.
Yeah, I mean, everything we do from like so prospecting fits into 2 buckets, right? I have active prospecting, which is us talking. And then I have passive prospecting, which is my social media and my emails and my flyers that I'm sending out. How do I take the passive prospecting and look at how to use that as opportunities to talk to more people? Because ultimately my goal is to make new friends and to better relationships with people that I already have. So everything we send out, I need to hold that accountable to delivering me some sort of opportunity, right? If I send out an email to 200 people in my database and 25 of them open it, and I go ahead and call those 25 people, I have a decent shot of either getting a referral or setting an appointment. But if I don't take the activity and go to the next level, they're not picking up the phone and calling me. They're just not. All right, let's jump back into it. Thank you guys for sharing. I appreciate that. It really makes it more enjoyable when you guys participate. So the difference between big and really big is how you manage your time and focus. You know, we keep ourselves in boxes, and the thing that limits us is our own thoughts and our own beliefs, right? We can build a really big business, but it comes down to managing our time and our focus. So we're all kind of newer agents, and I want you to really understand like how important it is to prioritize the way you are spending your time. Right. And I'm gonna beat this drum one more time. Here's our job. Lead generate, lead follow up, negotiate contracts, go on appointments, scripts and objection handling practice. That's our job. And I need to prioritize those 5 things above everything else. And maybe that voice in your head is saying right now, wait a second, I don't know this and I don't know that. And the fun thing about real estate is every transaction is different. So you can get ready to get ready, or you can be a person that you let perfection stand in the way of progress. Or you can get out there and take very small steps forward with lead generating and setting appointments every day and watch your pipeline grow and watch your skill set grow as you set more appointments and deliver more appointments and get people to the finish line. Enough preaching. Let's get back to it. So preparing, right? Prepare for the open house, prospect, right? That's the big one, right? Prospect around that open house. You know, you've got the social media prospecting, you've got your email prospecting, you've got your door knocking prospecting, and then you've got your in-person when someone walks in the open house. That's 4 avenues that you have to try and have conversations around buying and selling real estate. So important, okay? Pursue has everything to do with your follow-up. Okay, most people are not going to pick up the phone the first time you call them. Right? Most people are going to say, well, I feel kind of bad. I've been working with this agent. Hey, you know, I can appreciate that. I can appreciate your loyalty. How is it going? What do you like about that? Let's have a conversation around it. Hey, would you be open to a second opinion? I really think that after we spend 30 minutes in my office talking over your needs, I think I can help you, but if I can't, that's okay too. Can you meet on Thursday at 5? Right? This is pursue, right? I have to continue to pursue people. You know, I had an open house lead 2 years ago and I pursued her for 14 months. And then the first house I showed her, she bought it. So it was just a lot of me calling and texting her and her telling me, you know, I think I'm going to stick with my original agent. And I said, hey, I can appreciate that. You know, I would recommend writing that down. I can appreciate that. When someone gives you an objection, I can appreciate that. They don't expect you to say that. And in fact, I can appreciate that, right? But here's something to think about. You know, and then again, I'm gonna ping pong back. Objection handling and us practicing that makes that so much easier, right? And if you're saying to yourself, I don't know about that, because this is what's going to happen when someone gives you an objection. Our brain says, they rejected me. They don't like me. I need to get up out of here. That's option 1. I need to get out. Yeah, I'll send that over to you. You have no idea what to send them. You just want to get off the phone or get away from them. Or the second option is you want to argue with them. You know, you can't beat somebody into having an appointment with you. And if you notice that you have conversations that get argumentative when someone gives you an objection, you got to take a look at that. All right. Preparing. Most of it's done, right? Before the open house starts. If you're prepared, you can have fun, right? I like to have fun. I want to have fun in my job. That's why I chose to work for myself, because I want to make this job what I want to make it. And the more prepared I am, the more fun I get to have, because then I can just relax. And I had a coach once who said to me, he said, you know, Garrett, you relax and you win. When you're relaxed, you will perform better. It's huge, right? So when you're prepared, it allows you to relax, right? Practicing the conversations, If you're not practicing the conversations, I'm going to put my email again in there for the scripts for open houses. Practice, 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 right? And if you're not converting, if you've hosted 3 or 4 open houses and you have 10 plus people through, 40 plus people came through and you haven't set an appointment, it's time to take a look at the way you're going about your open houses. Okay, selecting the house on Monday. This is kind of the work before the open house, right? Probably want to take some notes or a screenshot of this one. So selecting the house looks like me calling 50, 60 agents to find a house. Or maybe I get lucky and the third person I call says, yes, you can host. Okay, post it online. Talk to the neighbors, invite the neighbors. Post it online again. Post it online again. Wow, we're really getting a lot of mileage from posting this open house online. I think a video is even more powerful. And for those of us that don't want to be on video, the question I have for you is why? What scares you about being on a video? Friday, post online again, prepare market statistics, print your flyers, and door knock. Okay. Do you know anything about the community you're hosting an open house in? Do you know what schools that house is in the district of? Do you have any neighborhood information? The best way to get neighborhood information is to go door knock the neighbors. They'll tell you everything. Just go door knock and have a conversation. Relocation information. You know, most of the people that will set appointments with us are first-time buyers. So do you have something at your open house that says, I help first-time home buyers? Here's some information that may help you, right? I used to do open houses with an agent when I was brand new, and he printed out a whole booklet for first-time home buyers. And anytime someone said they were a first-time home buyer, he gave them the booklet at the open house. In exchange for the booklet, they gave him their contact information and he followed up with them. Mortgage information. Who's your preferred lender? Write that down, preferred lender. It sounds like they're part of my team. I like that if I'm the client. I like feeling like my agent has a team of people who are going to take really good care of me. So who is your preferred lender? Prospect. Okay, building trust rapport, provide value, capture information, and qualify those leads. Qualifying a lead looks like, do they have the ability to purchase a home and what time frame and what is their motivation? You're going to provide value because you're going to do the legwork before the open house to be able to share information with people that come in the open house. You know, it's like me, know me, and trust me. Your opportunity at the open house is to get them to like you. Maybe you can start getting them to know you a little bit if you have enough time to have a conversation with them to get to know them a little bit. But trust has to be earned. And the way that you're going to get those cold leads that you just met to trust you is by following up with them in a very systematic way, in a very regular way, and to provide them value. I'm always looking at the people I'm talking to, and I got to answer this question is what's in it for them? Not what's in it for me. What's in it for them? What's in it for them to give me their time? Well, I'm going to get them a house. Well, you and 10,000 other agents can get them a house, but what's in it for them to give you more of their time? You know, every agent at the open house, you'll hear the off market, and that's fine. You know, the MLS has those members only no-shows. Those are all of our off markets. As far as a client is concerned who doesn't have an agent representing them and sending them things from the MLS, because those members only are, that's where they are. that unless I have MLS access from a client perspective and an agent is sending me things, I don't see that those homes are even for sale. Okay. Providing the value, knowing your value, right? If you know your market stats, you have value. If you start to understand personality types and how to interact with them and knowing your scripts, you have value. Your money is directly related to the quality of questions that you ask individuals. If you ask really good questions of people and remain curious, you will sell lots of houses. I can guarantee you that. So I challenge everybody on this call to write down questions that they ask people and start asking those questions and evaluate if you're asking good questions, and taking it a step further and asking other people what questions they're asking people that deliver good results. Here's a great question. Are you moving due to a life event? Is this move happening because of a life event? Yes, in fact, it is. I'm having a child. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm getting divorced. Yeah, my mom's moving into an assisted care facility, so we have to sell her house. Okay, real estate happens around life events, and I would suggest getting comfortable talking to people about serious matters, right? My coach says this to me. In conversation, your goal is to get out of the smoke and get into the fire. Okay, get out of the smoke, get into the fire. Getting into the fire is finding what their real motivation is and why they're looking at homes right now or why they're considering selling. Follow up, right? I need a follow-up plan. Every open house lead that comes in, they get 10 phone calls in 10 days. Okay, they fall into 3 buckets. I said these 3 buckets last week, right? Bucket 1 is they set an appointment. Bucket 2 is they give me permission to continue to follow up with them. And bucket number 3 is leave me alone, never call me again. And that person gets removed from the database. It's as simple as that. So if I just took my list of leads that I just got and I just went down the list and started calling them, they go into 3 buckets, right? After 10 calls, it's a weekly text message. And then the next week I give them a call, right? And that cadence is set up and held in command for me. So command, I open up command and it tells me what to do. And essentially I have a smart plan and I put these people on the smart plan. And it says, call them for 10 days. And then it says, text them next week, call them next week. And then I remove the smart plan once I've made contact and put them into one of those 3 buckets. All right. So planning an open house. Let's go back to you guys. We are, let's see what time we're at. We're at 10 o'clock. I'd like to kind of wrap things up here and conclude with some ahas from everybody. And so let's do it. Please unmute yourself if you have a question or an aha for the group.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yes. So about the off market at an agent, you print that out and bring to the open house and you see someone not represented by an agent, you say, hey, I have an off market, right? And then what do you do with that information? Because it do not show. I mean, how do you process that information?
I don't print it out and bring it to the open house, the off-market homes. I say there are some off-market homes that may meet your criteria. Are you available to get together tonight after the open house so I could learn a little bit more about what you're looking for and see if there may be a home that's not on the market that meets your criteria?
So you did tell them that I have some off market that meet your criteria.
Okay, so, but I need to learn more about your criteria, Sarah.
Right.
Right. Here's my personal thing on just sharing addresses and things like that with people. I want the prospect needs to give me some of their time for me to have an opportunity to to represent them. So
Oh.
if I just share information with people, they walk out the door and I never hear from them again.
Right.
So I need to
like,
give them a reason to meet with me.
So like if they at the open house, so if they tell you what they're looking for, the price range, why, when, and like house, and you know that in your mind you have some off market that met with their criteria, then what is the next step?
Let's schedule some time so that we can look at the homes that may meet your criteria, and I can get a better understanding of what it is you're looking for.
Did you
I have a
show
list
them?
of I have a list of 20 questions that we need to go through so that I have a really good understanding of what you're looking for so that I can help you the best way I know how.
Well, but if you don't show them right there, like the picture or a printout address, like do they will be interested in?
That's their decision if they're interested or not. All I can do is ask. I'm not looking to just share information at the open house about another property that's for sale off market. If you want that information, you work exclusively with me.
Okay.
You don't work with 5 other agents. You work with me, and we can talk about what that looks like when we meet after the open house at 5.
Okay.
I would say, like, don't get too far in the weeds with it. Somebody else had a question, Julia?
Yeah, Julia. The meaning is exclusive, meaning you need the sign agreement with me.
Yep, that's what I mean. Buyer
Okay.
agency agreement. We didn't cover buyer agency agreement in here because we're looking at open houses. We're not talking about the buyer consultation right now. But buyer consultation, my buyer consultation, that they're presented with the option to hire me and with the opportunity to sign a contract just like they would if they were going to sell a house. It's a 30-day contract for buyer representation. And after the appointment, when we talk about all the things that I'm going to do for them to help them find the right home, they're either going to say yes, no, or maybe. And we're going to move on. Okay. Jessica, you have your hand up?
Yeah.
Jump in.
Yeah, actually, I have a quick question. So even for my my own listing, when I go there, I will have my open house guest registry, and I will ask some the potential buyer who stop by and leave their information. You know, most of the guest registry, they have like the name and cell phone number and email address, and do you have an agent or not, such information. And a lot of, I noticed that a lot of like the buyers or the visitors just would like to leave me the email address, not the cell phone number. And when they try to like follow up, send out the emails, and nobody reply to me. So in this case, how can we follow up? And are we going to like send out like email again?
Yeah, I would continue to send them emails. I think you have a data collection problem. Right? And I think that your data collection problem gets solved very easily with a QR code that people have to put that information in there. I think most of us have a data collection problem. You know, I think you learn how to collect the data after making this your specialty for a little while. You know, if your business was, you know, you had to get people's information and follow up with them. You had to close deals when you hosted open houses. If that's how you looked at it, we would take collecting their data more seriously. And we have a very easy reason for them to give us their information. If they want to come inside, they have to scan the QR code.
Okay. And one more question.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Clara.
No, you go.
Yeah, another question is that some of the visitors, they stop by and they say that well, on the restriction, they say that they have like agent, like they circle like yes, they circle yes, but they didn't like submit the offer. Even I set up like offer due date. In this case, are we going to send them email? Because even we know, well, per their information that they already have a agent, are we going to send up like follow-up emails to them, try to like grab them to me as like my client? Or
I would. I mean, here's the thing. You have a box on there that says, don't ever contact me if you circle this, I have an agent remark.
it's just
Right,
like,
so
yeah, it's just like,
whether-
are you working with the agent? There's no like specific like description. Do you have like like buyer like a contract or buyer agent contract something? It's just like a very general questions on the.
Mhm. I would just kind of ask you, why do you have that on your sign-in sheet? What is the benefit to you to have that question on your sign-up sheet?
Yeah, actually, I got that from the title, because most of the title company will give us like, if you have a listing, and they will give you like a package, and in that package you have like open house guys like pad. Yeah, and that's one of the question on that sheet.
Okay, I would just again say, right, it's back to data collection, right? And we have to set a standard for how we're going to collect data at our open houses. And you know, a lot of agents, they just sit back and they know that the real serious people will engage them in conversation, and they'll work with those people, and everyone else they don't really bother with, right? So you just have to, again, what are the goals for you at hosting an open house? Right. And what are the best practices, right? I think today, hopefully we've outlined what the best practices are for using those open houses to get more business. And I would just say nothing's stopping you from creating a QR code and changing your own standard. All right, we got time for about one more person to wrap a bow on this thing.
Okay, I have one.
Okay.
My question is if I get a lab visit open house, and I get them home address, and they think about will sell like at the end of this year. So how I keep follow up every month?
Yeah, I would follow up with them every month. I mean, what's your objective with that contact information that you just got?
Oh, she didn't give me an objection. She just she welcomed me to follow up. She's happy. I send a text and email to her. She responds. She's very, very polite.
Okay, but what's your objective, Julia?
My meaning, I just maybe worry, concern how I can get this house to list.
Your objective is very simple. It's to set a listing appointment with her.
Right now?
Whenever she's ready.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay.
It's just to let them know, hey, I'd love to help you sell your house. Is this week a good time for me to come by? It's just as simple. It's as simple as asking.
Okay.
Let them tell you, right?
Yeah, she told me in 2 months I can review her property.
Okay, perfect. Then the next month you call her again and you just say, hey, just following up. How's everything going? Just checking in.
Okay.
Do you need anything?
Okay, good.
Can we go ahead and set that appointment?
Okay, that's important.
All right. I want to thank you guys and ladies for jumping on the call today. I appreciate it. You have my email there. If you have any more questions, please feel free to reach out. I wish you guys good luck. Lead generate, lead follow up, set those appointments, go on those appointments, and enjoy the rest of Ignite. I'll see you guys next week.
Thank you, Garrett.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you. Bye, Garrett.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.